Hello everyone, it's DA here. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you are doing fantastic. PvP is an activity that I do frequently in Division 2, but I seldom make builds or guides for it, mainly because most of the player base are invested in PvE. But today's video, however, is quite different. It is a build conceived from frustration, germinated for a deadly purpose. It is a build to counter the Hive or the Bleed users, to counter the Fire users or the Firestarter or the Dynasty users. It lets you step into the Bleeding Hives and the Hellfires. With immunity from the gods, the skill of Dragon protects you. You become the one they fear as you emerge out in the open. You are Dragonborn in this build. This is a build that forces players to use other things instead of bleed and flames. And considering that most of you have better rolls than mine, your build will become even more powerful. And with this in place, you can trade bullets as you step out of the flames like a phoenix. This build comes with 1.2 million armor, which means you have at least some resilience in place. You have 100% fire resistance, 100% bleed resistance, and 88% hazard resistance that spans across all forms of hazard in the game. The PvP damage is not bad either and can be tuned with other pieces as you begin to pile things up and curate your build to suit your playstyle. To make your own version of this build, I suggest that you start with a Demolitionist Specialization, and of course try to have hazard protection on your Shade Watch. If you don't have hazard protection on your watch, don't worry, we can substitute it out by using another piece for that later on. The reason I use Demolitionist here is because it comes with a perk that gives you 20% fire resistance. While hives can be dodged, fire is one of those things that can be launched, or it can even attack you without you even knowing. For example, if someone is using Imperial Dynasty, this is something that can be triggered by a gear piece. So this 20% helps us begin our builds for countering fire and hive users. I also have a build for countering negotiator users as well, and I will share that later on in another video. I am using one Yao piece, and that is for the 10% hazard protection. I have 2 Cheska pieces for another 10%, 2 Gilligard pieces for the extra armor, and 1 Fenris piece for the assault rifle damage because I will be using the assault rifle. You can also substitute one of the Gilligard pieces for another damage piece in case you don't have hazard protection on your Shade Watch, and then you can roll hazard protection on that piece. I also use 2 mods to push that bleed protection to 100%. Now, the reason why Cheska is a good piece out of all the other pieces like the 511s is because 511s take 3 to actually get to that point, and Cheska piece gives us the opportunity to do away with one of those pieces. Cheska is also a good choice not because of the hazard protection, but because of the critical chance and the offensive attributes. Those are things that we need in this build. You don't just want a tank build that's not able to dish out damage either. So now we have 3 reds and 3 blues. The choice of talent is up to you, but personally I use Unbreakable, but you can use Obliterate for the extra damage. You can use Trauma if you want to dish out the same type of effect, or use Efficient if you're really good with it. On the backpack, I am using Clutch because of the added survivability. Now these are talents that you don't have to rely on. You have to switch these things out based on your own playstyle and what you've been accustomed to. My weapon of choice is the Eagle Bearer for its headshot bonus and tenacity if I have to. Now, if you don't have Eagle Bearer, you can use the CTAR, you can use the Carbine 7, you can even use the FAMAS 2010, which is another great choice out there when it comes to PvP. Because our damage is somewhat limited in this build, as I said earlier, you want to get it back by maintaining your headshots as well. Now, as you can already tell, I am using the Bulwark Shield for its defensive measure, and that is because it also scales with defensive attributes or skill attributes. So yellows and blues will help you rank up the Bulwark Shields or any of the shields in the game. And this is something that I use for those last second moments. A jammer paired with a defender drone is also a great combination. If you're one of those people who like to face targets or just, go face tanking or go charging in, then that 2 combination is going to be great. You can jam and destroy their shield, and you can also have a defender drone of yours to give you some added damage reduction. This entire build works on the relationship of push and pull. We want a balance, so while we're building up on our resilience and our resistance, We also want to improve our damage, and this will help us push enemies if we have to. Now, the rest of this is supported by your own individual skills. It allows you to eliminate the non-skilled elements from the battle, things such as hives, Imperial Dynasty, or even the trauma chest hits can no longer affect you, and that is one of the really cool things about it. And of course, for a lot of people who use Firestarter, you have a way to counter them, which makes them no longer a problem. Anyways, thank you so much to the Division 2 community for having me and allowing me the opportunity to be able to make this build video and help you guys out there. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.